Alimony. When we're talking about alimony, it is that payment to or for a spouse or former spouse under a divorce or separation instrument. So it's what one ex-spouse pays to the other ex-spouse as a result of their divorce. Now we're going to talk here about what is and is not alimony, but the main issue is really who pays the taxes on that alimony amount. Are the taxes paid by the payer of the alimony or the recipient of the alimony? And we'll see here it kind of matters on when the divorce took place. But alimony does not include a voluntary payment made by the taxpayer that's not under a divorce or separation instrument. Okay, so it needs to be under that divorce or separation instrument in order for it to be alimony. Now, not all payments under a divorce or separation instrument are considered to be alimony. Alimony does not include child support, non-cash property settlements, payments that are espoused as part of a community income, payments to maintain the payer's property, and the use of the payer's property. This is not considered to be alimony. So, what is alimony? We've got a very technical definition here. Alimony is a payment to or for a spouse under a divorce or separation instrument if the spouses do not file a joint return with each other and all of these conditions are met. The payment is in cash, and checks or money orders are considered cash here. The instrument cannot designate the payment as not alimony. Okay, so if it's specifically designated as not alimony, it's not alimony. The spouses are not members of the same household at the time the taxpayer makes the payments. Also, there is no liability to make any payment, cash or property, after the death of the recipient spouse, and the payment is not treated as child support. Okay, this is what's included as an alimony payment. Now, if certain conditions are met, direct payments for medical expenses and housing may also be classified as alimony, but certain conditions need to be met in order for those payments to be considered as alimony. Now, I said that the question that we have here is who pays the taxes on that alimony payment? Is it paid by the payer of the alimony or the recipient of the alimony? And well, it depends on when the divorce agreement was executed. If it was executed prior to 2019 or after 2018, we've got a cut, and so we'll look at each of these. So if the divorce agreement was before January 1st, 2019 or 2018 or earlier, the alimony is deductible for the payer and includable for the recipient. And so the recipient of the alimony will pay the taxes on the amount. Now, if we have an agreement that was before January 1st, 2018, and it was modified after that date, unless that modification expressly states that it's now going to be under the new rules, well then, we're going to continue to have it under the old rules. It will follow the modification will follow the old rules unless it's expressly stated that it will not. Now, under these old rules, where the payment of the alimony is deductible for the payer and it's includable for the recipient, we also had what was called an alimony recapture. And this is a rule that's related to alimony that's intended to prevent a property settlement, which would be the transfer of the house, as being treated as alimony. And so under this recapture rule, any excess amounts that are paid in the first 2 years of the settlement need to be recaptured in the third year. So if there's this massive transfer at the beginning, a lot of that may come back as, well, that wasn't alimony, that was something else. And so if we have this recapture, whatever amount needs to be recaptured is going to be added back to the income of the payer and deducted from the income of the recipient in the third year. And so what this is just doing is it's saying that some of those big payments in the first 2 years that were originally classified as alimony, well, they weren't alimony, and the person who should have paid taxes on it needs to be adjusted in year 3. Now, the amount that needs to be recaptured, I don't want you to get lost in these calculations, just kind of be aware of what it is. The amount of the year 2 payment that needs to be recaptured is the amount by which the alimony paid in the second year exceeds the payment in the third year by more than $15,000. Okay, now there's different ways that we can write this formula, and it's math, so you see it in different ways, but the amount that the second year payment exceeds the payment in the third year by more than $15,000. Now, the amount from the first year that needs to be recaptured is equal to the amount by which the first year payment was more than $15,000 larger than the average payments for years 2 and 3, including the amount that was recaptured for year 2. And so we've got a formula. I don't want you to worry about that, just showing what we're doing here. But we can't make the calculations until year 3 because we need to know what those payments were in year 3. So for those divorce agreements that happened before 2019, it's deductible for the payer of the alimony, and the taxes are paid by the recipient of the alimony as income. Now, for those divorce agreements that are after December 31st, 2018, the payment of the alimony and separate maintenance under the divorce or separate maintenance agreement is no longer deductible by the payer's spouse and no longer includable in the income by the payee spouse. So the payer of the alimony will pay taxes on that amount. It simply isn't deductible by the person who pays the alimony, and it is not included for the recipient of the alimony for those divorce agreements that took place after 2018. Now, we also have talked about child support. A payment that is specifically designated as child support or treated as specifically designated as child support under that divorce or separation agreement is not alimony. Okay? It is not alimony. And so child support payments are not deductible by the payer, no matter when the divorce agreement was, and are not taxable to the recipient. Now, the IRS treats a payment as child support to the extent that the payment declines when the child reaches a certain age, okay, or some event happens. And so if you're paying child support and after there's a big amount, and then after the child turns 18, there's still an amount that's paid, well, that amount that's being paid wasn't child support. Because if it was child support, it would have stopped when the child reached that age. And so some payments that look like child support may not actually be child support if it's going to stop after the child reaches a certain age, okay, if we've got some issue with that child getting to a certain age. So with alimony, the big question is who pays the taxes on it, the payer or the recipient? And as we've already seen, it depends on when the divorce agreement took place. Prior to 2019, the payer deducted it, the recipient paid the taxes on it. The divorce agreements after 2018, it's not deductible for the payer, and so the payer is essentially paying the income taxes on that amount that is alimony.